Brooklyn Beckham has gone from the golden boy of one of the most famous families on earth to the center of a feud so ugly, even the people closest to it can't believe what's happening. And Victoria Beckham? Insiders say she's completely done with trying to fix this. A 6-page Instagram takedown of his own parents. Tattoos of dad and mama's boy lasered off his body, a cease and desist letter sent to the people who raised him, and a billionaire father-in-law who just stepped in front of cameras for the first time and told the world to, quote, stay the hell out of the press. But the part nobody's talking about is Nicola Peltz.
Nicola Peltz is reportedly getting $1 million a month from her dad, Nicola Peltz, which sounds like a ton of money, but remember, her dad is a billionaire. So how much does $1 million a month even mean to him? And how did he get so rich that even the Beckhams look budget in comparison?
Because when a billionaire activist investor suddenly breaks years of silence, he's not just talking, he's making a move. Yeah, that was 6 months ago. Here's what happened since. To understand how Brooklyn Beckham ended up at war with his own family, you need to understand the weight he was carrying before any of this started. He was born on March 4th, 1999, named after the New York borough where David and Victoria reportedly conceived him. From the moment he took his first breath, he was tabloid property. The firstborn son of the most famous couple in England, David Beckham, arguably the biggest footballer alive. Victoria, posh spice, building what would become a fashion empire. Together, they weren't just a couple, they were a brand, and Brooklyn was the face of it before he could walk. People love to mock Brooklyn for bouncing between careers. Football didn't work out, he trained at Arsenal's academy, but he couldn't keep up with kids who didn't have paparazzi following them to practice, so he pivoted to photography. At 18, he published a book called What I See. Critics tore it apart. Out-of-focus shots, amateur compositions, the kind of thing you'd scroll past on Instagram without thinking twice. Then modeling. Then cooking. And the cooking thing is where it gets wild. Brooklyn never took a single cooking class. Not one. He learned from watching masterclass videos. But somehow he landed a show on Facebook Watch called Cookin' with Brooklyn. Reports say each episode cost roughly $100,000 to produce and required a crew of 62 professionals to make this completely untrained cook look competent on camera. The internet destroyed him. Professional chefs couldn't believe it. He became the poster child for celebrity nepotism. Career after career, none of it earned, all of it handed to him. But nobody stops to ask the obvious question. What does that do to a person? Growing up knowing that everything you have, your platform, your opportunities, even your name, belongs to someone else's brand, that every door opens because of your parents, and every failure gets magnified because of them too? Because that pressure is exactly what Brooklyn says pushed him to the breaking point. And the person who was standing next to him when he finally snapped was Nicola Peltz. If you think the Beckhams are wealthy, the Peltz family makes them look middle class. Nicola Peltz is an actress. Transformers: Age of Extinction, the live-action Avatar series on Netflix. But her real power? Her last name. Her father is Nicola Peltz, one of the most feared activist investors on Wall Street. Nelson co-founded Trion Fund Management. They manage around $8.5 billion in assets. This is a man who bought massive stakes in Procter & Gamble, PepsiCo, DuPont, and Disney, then walked into their boardrooms and told CEOs worth hundreds of millions of dollars that they were doing their jobs wrong. And more often than not, he won. His estimated net worth sits around $1.6 billion. David Beckham's entire fortune, built over decades of football, endorsements, and business ventures, is reportedly around $450 million. Reports say Nicola receives roughly $1 million a month from her father. $1 million a month? And to Nicola Peltz, it's pocket change. Brooklyn and Nicola started dating in 2019, got engaged in 2020, and married in April 2022 at the Peltz family's oceanfront compound in Palm Beach, Florida. The wedding reportedly cost around $3.5 million. Mark Anthony performed 500 guests, the whole production. But that wedding wasn't just the beginning of a marriage. According to multiple sources, it was the beginning of the end of the Beckham family, as everyone knew it. And what reportedly went down on that dance floor? That's the moment everything cracked open. On the surface, the Beckham-Peltz wedding looked like a fairy tale. A $3.5 million ceremony, celebrity guests, the Palm Beach oceanfront, perfection from every angle. Behind the scenes, it was already falling apart. According to Brooklyn's explosive 6-page Instagram statement from January 2026, the problem started before anyone even walked down the aisle. First, the dress. Victoria Beckham had reportedly been excited to design Nicola's wedding gown. Nicola was apparently thrilled to wear it. But Brooklyn claims Victoria pulled out at the last minute, leaving Nicola scrambling. Victoria's side disputes this, but the dress became the first visible crack between the two families. Then came the night before the wedding. Brooklyn alleged that family members reminded him Nicola was not blood and not family the night before his wedding. The people closest to him essentially telling him his future wife didn't belong, but it was what happened on the dance floor that detonated everything. Brooklyn said he and Nicola had planned their first dance for weeks, a romantic moment, a love song. 500 guests watching, simple. Instead, Mark Anthony called Brooklyn up to the stage and announced, "Please welcome the most beautiful woman in the room." Brooklyn expected his wife. Victoria was standing there waiting for him. And according to Brooklyn, she then danced, his exact words, very inappropriately on him in front of every single guest. And this wasn't just Brooklyn's word. The wedding DJ, Fat Tony, went on ITV and confirmed the entire thing. He said Brooklyn was literally devastated. He said Nicola left the room crying her eyes out. He called it really awkward for everyone in the room. Imagine that for a second. Your wedding day, the biggest night of your life, 500 people watching, and your own mother hijacks your first dance with your wife. Whether it was intentional or not, the damage was catastrophic. But here's what most people covering this story always leave out. There's something else that happened before those vows, something that reframes this entire situation. Before Brooklyn and Nicola got married, they signed a prenuptial agreement, and the terms were brutal. If the marriage ever ends, Brooklyn walks away with nothing from the Peltz family fortune. Zero. He'd only get whatever he and Nicola built together during the marriage, which, given Brooklyn's track record of unfinished careers, wouldn't be much. That prenup didn't just protect money, it established who holds power. And from day one of this marriage, it hasn't been Brooklyn. In January 2026, Brooklyn Beckham did something that can never be taken back. He went public. He dropped a 6-page statement on Instagram that systematically dismantled everything his parents had built. He wrote, "For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. My family values public promotion and endorsement above all else. Brand Beckham comes first." He accused David and Victoria of repeatedly pressuring him to sign away the rights to his own name, Brooklyn Beckham. They allegedly wanted him to hand over the legal rights to it just weeks before his wedding. He said the narrative that Nicola controls him is completely backwards, that he'd actually been controlled by his parents his entire life, that he grew up with crippling anxiety, and that since stepping away from his family, that anxiety had disappeared for the first time ever. And then the line that ended any hope of reconciliation. "I do not want to reconcile with my family." But the Instagram post wasn't even the most extreme thing Brooklyn did. Before going public, he reportedly sent his own parents a cease and desist letter, a legal document demanding they stop talking about him in public and that all future communication go through lawyers. Not his mom, not his dad, just lawyers. David and Victoria responded with a private letter sent directly to their son. No social media, no press involvement, just two parents reaching out. Insiders say it wasn't angry, it wasn't defensive, it was heartbreaking. Two parents who just wanted proof their firstborn was okay. A Cited's page Instagram post. That was his answer. The timeline of destruction after that is staggering. Brooklyn had already skipped David's 50th birthday celebration in May 2025. He and Nicola renewed their wedding vows in August 2025 without a single Beckham present. When David was knighted in November 2025, becoming Sir David Beckham, Brooklyn and Nicola were nowhere to be found. No attendance, no congratulations, nothing. And if you think that's as bad as it gets, the tattoos tell a different story. Brooklyn started covering them up. The dad tattoo on his arm, gone. Replaced with random shapes. Mama's boy, gone. Reports say he even covered tributes to his siblings Romeo, Cruz, and Harper. Nicola scrubbed every Beckham photo from her Instagram, every image with Victoria, every picture with David, deleted, and while all of this was happening, one question kept coming up. The question that makes this whole thing darker than a typical celebrity feud: was this really Brooklyn's decision, or was someone else pulling the strings? For weeks, as this family implosion played out across every tabloid on Earth, one person stayed completely silent. The richest and most connected person in this entire story, Nicola Peltz. Sources close to the Beckhams say David and Victoria have been convinced for months that Brooklyn's choices aren't entirely his own. They believe Nicola and her family, especially Nelson, have been the driving force behind Brooklyn's isolation from them. And when you look at how it's played out, you can see why they think that, since the fallout, Brooklyn's entire world revolves around the Peltz family, their social circles, their homes, their orbit. He reportedly only communicates with his own parents through lawyers and middlemen. That's not a man who simply chose his wife over his parents. That's a man whose entire support system has been replaced, and through it all, Nelson Peltz said nothing. No statements, no defense of his son-in-law, no acknowledgement of the Beckhams, just silence. Until February 3rd, 2026. At the Wall Street Journal's Invest Live event in West Palm Beach, a reporter asked Nelson about advising his family through high-profile situations. First, he played coy, smiled, and said, "Has my family been in the press lately? I haven't noticed that at all." Then he got direct. "My advice is to stay the hell out of the press. How much good did that do?" And then this, "My daughter's great, my son-in-law Brooklyn is great, and I look forward to them having a long, happy marriage together." Listen to what he actually said. And more importantly, what he didn't say. He didn't call for peace. He didn't mention David or Victoria. He didn't suggest reconciliation. He called Brooklyn great, endorsed the marriage, and effectively told the entire Beckham family that his side of this equation is settled. This is a man who has spent 50 years walking into boardrooms and telling the biggest names in corporate America what to do. He doesn't speak randomly. When a man like that breaks months of silence, the words are chosen with surgical precision. And when Nelson Peltz finally opened his mouth, he drew a line. But here's what keeps David and Victoria up at night, according to sources close to them. If Brooklyn's marriage ever fell apart, he wouldn't just lose his wife. He'd lose everything. His social world, his financial support, his entire life as he knows it. The prenup guarantees he walks away with almost nothing. And after burning every bridge with his own family, he'd have nowhere to go back to. That's not a family feud, that's a trap. And insiders say the Beckhams know it. They just can't do anything about it. And the man sitting at the center of it all, the one with the $1.6 billion fortune and the 50 years of corporate warfare experience, he's not saying a word. Because Nelson Peltz doesn't need to say anything. He already won. Or did he? Because there's one person in this story whose reaction nobody expected, and she's about to change everything. For 3 years, Victoria Beckham tried. She tried to keep the peace. She tried to build a relationship with Nicola. She tried to protect Brooklyn from negative press, reportedly killing unflattering stories before they ever reached the public. A source close to the family told reporters she treated Nicola like another daughter. And Brooklyn's response to all of that? A public accusation that she humiliated his wife at their wedding, controlled his life, and put her brand before her family. Sources close to Victoria say something shifted after that January statement. She went from heartbroken to resolved. A source told Hello Magazine she is moving forward with dignity and grace. And if you've been around celebrity drama long enough, you know exactly what that means. She's not chasing her son anymore, not because she doesn't love him, because she's finally accepted that whatever hold the Peltz family has on Brooklyn, she can't break it from the outside. Victoria Beckham has spent 30 years in the public eye and never backed down from anything. This is the first time she stopped fighting. Meanwhile, Brooklyn and Nicola are reportedly talking about starting a family. Friends told The Sun the couple has had several conversations about having children and want to adopt as well. They want a big family. The idea that Victoria Beckham could become a grandmother and never hold that child, that David could have a grandchild he's never met, that's not tabloid gossip anymore. That's the kind of wound that doesn't heal. And the rest of the Beckham family, they're moving forward. Romeo, Cruz, Harper, all still close to David and Victoria, still posting family photos, still celebrating milestones together. The Beckham brand is rolling forward like nothing can stop it. Except there's one seat at the table that's permanently empty. Here's where this stands. Brooklyn says he has no regrets. Victoria has stopped reaching out. Nelson Peltz is playing the long game. And somewhere in the middle of it all, a 26-year-old kid who grew up with security guards instead of friends is betting everything he has that the family he married into will treat him better than the one he was born into. The Beckhams say the door is open, no conditions, no apology required, whenever he's ready. And sources are saying the next chapter involves something the Beckhams have been quietly preparing behind the scenes. A legal move that could change the entire dynamic. This story is nowhere near over. Tell me in the comments, is Brooklyn finally free, or is he more trapped than ever? Because after everything you just heard, I genuinely don't know the answer. And honestly, I don't think Brooklyn does either. If you want to see how this plays out, subscribe because this story is far from over.